course, Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical that propelled you, Andrew, and Tim Rice into the stratosphere, really, particularly here in America, where they loved it. Very controversial at the time. And ironic, really, we're sitting here as, of course, this Mormon musical is exploding and winning all the Tonys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not causing quite such a fuss that you did.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can't, maybe some people can these days, you can't really shock people, maybe. But, I mean, we never wrote Superstar to be in any way shocking. We wrote it because we wanted to write the story of the man. And, in fact, we really wanted to write a love triangle, but the whole thing was, did Judas Iscariot have God on his side? Which is Bob Dylan line, of course. Did Judas Iscariot betray Jesus because of jealousy about Mary Magdalene? That's where we came from. What's very thrilling for me is that there's this production up in Canada at the moment, which Des McAnuff, who did Jersey Boys, among many other things, has just done. And it's really the first time that I've seen the love triangle absolutely tackled broadside.
It's fascinating with you that you created these amazing musicals. This was 76, I think, it launched. And yet even now, people are doing new versions of them, which can dazzle you.
Well, yes, it often depends, on the quality of the actors and the performers. This one has to be very well acted. But, of course, Superstar, nobody was interested in doing it in the theatre when we started. So Tim Rice and I did it as a record. All we'd done before then was Joseph and Mason Technicolor Dreamcoat. That had been quite successful in schools. So everybody said, well, you've got to do another one. So they said Moses, right, Webber and Rice should do Moses. And we looked at that. And in fact, one time, Jesus Christ Superstar was going to be Samuel.
No.
This is the first book of Samuel. It failed to
That's
work.
true.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, yes, I don't know how to love him. It was originally a song called I Long for Kansas Morning. It sort of went, how did it go? You think, no, I'll do it, Milky. I long for Kansas morning. And it's a dreadful line. It's, I can't remember how it went now, because I see you now. You're flying high. Kansas on my brain. I'm trapped in Maine. I mean, really.
Which of all your... I know it's a bit like asking if your favourite child, but which of all the musicals is your personal favourite of yours?
Oh, it's a difficult one. I'm very fond of Sunset Boulevard.
That's my favourite.
But it's in one sense, I think it's one of the most complete ones I've done. The Phantom of the Opera I'm very fond of. I genuinely think...
I love that moment when Norma Desmond comes down the stairs. I love that. To me, it's one of the most powerful bits of any musical I've seen. Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful moment in the gift, because, I mean, when the guy called Hog Eye says, turn the lights on, Miss Desmond, is it you, and all the lights come together. I mean, that is a genuine operatic.
Close performing it.
She was great.
Just sensational.
She was fantastic. But she was the wonderful thing of a superb actress. And the fact that she wouldn't really consider herself to be a great singer, but it didn't matter. Because she just held the stage like nobody else.
Did Michael Jackson wanted to play the Phantom?
Yeah. He wanted to play the movie. And, I mean, I thought very carefully about talking about this, particularly after his death, because just it sounded like I was jumping on the bandwagon a bit, to talk about it then. But it is true. He came to see it several times. He came to see it here in New York.
Did you speak to him about it, seriously?
Yes, I did. But the thing was, the film was, at that point, so far away down the line, people in those days were very worried that a film, if it was made, would destroy the Broadway or the West End show, and everyone would just go and see the movie. In fact, it's been proved to be completely the other way around. If you make a movie, it's just a great help for the theatre. But goodness knows what it would have been like.
He would be incredible, wouldn't he?
Well, I think he would. There's another person who really wanted to do it, but he died again. I mean, when it's the Curse of the Phantom, and this was a long time ago. It was Sammy Davis Jr.
Wanted to play the Phantom.
He wanted to play the Phantom. And I really wanted him to open it in Toronto, but everybody was they were a bit frightened about it, because I suppose he could have been taken the wrong way. But he really wanted to do it. And do you know, it's one of those funny things, that you get categorise people. Now, because I suppose he was of a generation slightly before mine, I always thought of him as a kind of cabaret singer, and I didn't really think very, very much of him. I didn't know. Well, Liza Minnelli, who's an old mate of mine, we were down in South France, and she said, you've got to come and hear Sammy Davis. So I said, fine, go. I have never felt so ashamed in my life. I mean, for 2.5 hours I heard one of the most consummate performances I've ever heard, and he ended up doing the music of the night. And I thought to myself, I never ever again am going to prejudge anything, because you never can tell. Never can tell.
Who of all the performers you've had, I know this is not a hard question, if you could relive one moment live again that you've experienced in all these shows, all the opening nights and everything, which one sticks most in your memory?
It was difficult, really. I suppose, funnily enough, Memory on Broadway was an extraordinary moment on the first night there when Betty Buckley did it. And the big moment when he gets to touch me, when he goes... The whole audience just applauded, just across it.
Wow. And what were you thinking?
I did think that's fairly extraordinary. Oh, Robert Stigwood, who people may remember, used to manage me. He ran down the aisle and just said, Andrew, you've done it. And that was a great moment. Now people will run the other way.
Well, that leads me neatly to your irresistible appeal to women. What do you put this down to? You had a series of beautiful wives.
I'm not sure I am that irresistible, but I haven't noticed it lately. No, I mean, I think Sarah Brightman and I had a great rapport through music. And, you know, I think that music says a lot of things. I mean, there are a lot of people who actually don't really like music, but people who do, you know, then you can talk a lot of it. I mean, there are a lot of artists who...
Do women find, do you think, musical genius sexy?
I don't know, because I don't think I am one, but I do know that what you can sort of play in the night.
You're being absurdly modest. Anyone that can just conjure up these kind of melodies, which then become anthems all around the world, I mean, that's ingenious, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe just that I have a good ear for tunes. I mean...
Who do you think is a musical genius who's alive today?
Today, well, I think, put it another way, because I'm so, you know, really obsessed with melody, I'd sort of prefer to say that I think, look at the last century, say Richard Rodgers, I think, was absolutely a genius. Gershwin was. Prokofiev. I mean, because, anybody who can do for a cat. sum that a whole thing about cats up in exactly 4 bars, which it took me 2.5 hours to do. I mean, he's a genius. And I think of the living composers who are around now, I really, really, really think Paul McCartney. I think that, you know, some of McCartney's melodies are just sublime.
Take another break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the fact that you are the world's greatest lover. You don't email, you don't have a computer, you don't even drive a car, you don't have a mobile phone.
I've got news for you. I've got an iPad too.
Have you really?
I'll tell you about it.
Everything's changed. Play us out with another one of your songs. Then.
What shall we have? Let's think. Let's watch sort of... There we go. We're good for you.